All right. Well, welcome to today's episode. If you're joining me on Facebook, feel free to say hi in the comments or ask questions along the way. But I want to start off by asking you to think of something that you have wanted in the past. Maybe you wanted to take a luxury trip, or maybe you wanted to change careers, or invest in something or even yourself. Think of that moment and hold it in your mind. So think of that thing or that moment where you wanted something. Okay. And now let me ask you, who stopped you from getting it? Out of habit, you may have answered that question by listing family members, your kids, your spouse, maybe a boss or a coworker. I'm sorry to tell you, but the person who most likely stopped you was none other than you. Today, we're going to take a look at our self-imposed limits and how we can raise the bar. Your upper limit is essentially the amount of good that you're comfortable having in your life. It is your tolerance and threshold for having positive feelings or experiencing positive events. So when I first read this, it seemed so ridiculous to me. Like, why would we have a limit of joy in our lives? But when I started studying and really reflecting on it, it truly did start to make sense. So think about it. Have you ever gotten a promotion or a job that you've been working towards, feel happy for a bit, you almost feel like you're like on a high, and then you come back down? Or you're in an amazing relationship and you feel that high once again, but the happy feeling just doesn't seem to last. Before long, you start finding flaws with the other person, reasons why it just wouldn't work, and then reasons why it won't last. Or you find all the flaws with your new job, your new promotion isn't quite as you thought, and you start questioning why you wanted it in the first place. Does any of that sound familiar? Has this happened before? So I don't think we can expect to feel that type of high 24/7. But I truly believe that we can lead a happy life where joy is present the majority of the time. I truly believe that. So now that we've raised our awareness and we are aware of this pattern, it has given us the power to shift it. So when you learn something new, when you have an aha moment, it's important to use that newfound knowledge and apply it. There's a reason why you attracted this message in. So before we dive deeper into our upper limits, I want to touch base on beliefs. So beliefs are defined as a set of principles, ideas, and opinions that are engraved in our subconscious. It's possible that these beliefs were planted and reinforced all throughout our childhood and adulthood. Some beliefs have been around since the time we were born. So if I think I am 36, some of these beliefs I have been carrying around for 36 years. That's a long time to be carrying around beliefs, especially if they don't serve me. And our beliefs are created based on our childhood experiences, on our circumstances, on our education, on our environment. These are all pieces that influence our beliefs. As an example, Okay. Who here has a famous Tupperware cupboard or drawer with old margarine containers? This is a generational belief. My grandma and my great grandma kept these because there was a belief at the time of scarcity and the possibility of needing them. Now, if you actually use these containers and they are there for a reason, that's different and no judgment whatsoever. But I know that for myself, when I first moved out on my own, I kept those containers too. However, I really didn't like them and I didn't use them. Therefore, for me, that belief served me no purpose. I kept saving all these containers because I had seen it being done. And again, no judgment on anybody who does it or any of my family who may still do it or have done it in the past. This is my own personal experience on it. But I kept all those containers and all it did was took up space because I didn't use them, right? So it didn't serve me. That belief of scarcity over containers did not serve me. Now, our beliefs are essentially our programming, which dictates how we see our world. If we don't like what we see in our world, reprogramming is a must. Think about your computer. If you don't like the way that it's running, you're going to reprogram it so that it can run the way that you want it to run. The same applies for us. If you don't like the way that you're thinking, feeling, behaving, reacting, or acting, then we need to take a hard look at how things are programmed inside of our mind and decide that we want something different. Decide that we're reprogramming it. And it's doable. We have the tools. If you are in the 2% club, then you have the tools at your fingertips, right? And if you're not part of this amazing 2% club, guys, reach out. Okay? You need to be in here. All right? So we can have empowering beliefs and we can have limiting beliefs. Our limiting beliefs usually leave a negative ripple effect. They limit us and our potential. They're meant to keep us safe, which isn't always a negative thing. So if I'm walking down a dark street and my beliefs are that it's not safe, my beliefs are making me turn around and choose a different street, this isn't a bad thing. But when it acts as a cage and it limits our potential, that's when we need to make a shift. So our empowering beliefs motivate us. They push us to new heights. They encourage us to grow and be the best versions of ourselves. That new job, your belief that you are worthy and deserve good things will help you overcome the fear or change and move you forward. Your self-confidence is a belief that will help you find new healthy relationships. Your belief around money being everywhere and available to everyone will help you move your business forward. And I don't know about you, but I want more empowering beliefs in my life. That's what I'm making room for. I don't have room and I don't have energy anymore for the limiting beliefs. So because we think in pictures, okay, and understand concepts when they are concrete, let's put it this way. Okay, we're all programmed with a thermostat and it works the same as the one we have in our home. Let's think about our thermostat in our homes. I want you to imagine yours in your mind. So walk to it, okay, see it on the wall. What's the temperature set at? So right now, because it's June here and it's been warm, I have my AC turned on. And my thermostat is set at 21 because I like my home cool. Now, if my kids decide to leave the patio door open when it's 30 degrees outside, my AC will kick on to ensure that my home stays at my comfortable 21 degrees. My home may get a little warmer, but not for long. And if you have a fancy thermostat that turns on heat and AC, your home wouldn't get much cooler or warmer, right? Our programming is the same. We may experience lows and highs, but we always come back to our norm. If we aren't used to being happy, calm, and confident for long stretches of time, our subconscious registers these feelings as foreign and brings us back to status quo. So where is your thermostat set for the amount of joy that you live? Where is it set for the amount of happiness that you experience? The sadness, the anger, the struggles. Where is your inner thermostat set when it comes to these things? Because if it is set here, you may raise a little bit or rise a little bit, and you may go a little bit lower, but you'll always come back to this status quo. Now, when you're trying to avoid the really low lows, the status quo seems pretty good. And that's where I was for a long time. Status quo was awesome. I felt okay. So whenever I'd get pulled down, I knew that I'd come back to status quo eventually. But then it also means that if my status quo was here and I'm feeling a little bit of happiness, I'm going to come back down. I'm gonna come back to this okay point. But I don't want to be okay anymore. I want to be up here. I want this right now to be my status quo, which means that I need to raise this limit so that this limit is no longer down here at being okay. I want to be freaking amazing. I want to be up here, right? So I need to raise that. Now that we have this awareness, the next step is to raise our upper limits, right? To raise that status quo. We are no longer okay with being just okay. We want to be up here. We want to be rock stars, right? Before we go any further, we need to identify where we are going. So ask yourself, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I desire to have? And then this will help you identify what is serving you and what isn't. Because first and foremost, we need to know where we're going. This is why in the 2% Club, we start with the Power of Purpose retreat. We always want to start by uncovering our true purpose, because this sets the tone for all other steps to follow. And I love this piece, this meme that's on your screen, because in this scene, he was trying to just get her to think about what she wanted, not what everybody else wanted, but what she wanted. Because that's what matters. It's what do you want? Okay, we always have to start there. Then we want to acknowledge the beliefs that have gotten us this far. And we want to express gratitude for them because they have done their job. They have gotten you to where you are now. There's no room for anger. There's no room for frustration or regrets. This doesn't serve us either. We accept the past for what it is, and then we look forward, because that's where we're going. We're not going back there. We're going forward. Okay? And then it's time to break up with the beliefs that aren't serving you. Give them the breakup speech, except it's going to sound like it's not me, it's you. Right? So you're talking your limiting beliefs. Look them in the face and tell them that you're done, because there's no room for them anymore. And then when we start assessing our beliefs and unraveling their existence, it can get uncomfortable and messy because we may have to face some truths. When you start unraveling all the beliefs that you've been holding on to, there may be, no, I take that back. There's going to be some uncomfortable moments. Okay. But from my experience, I promise you, it's worth the discomfort now. So what you are uncomfortable about now will be worth it tomorrow. Okay. And then once you've unraveled these beliefs, okay, now it's time to reprogram them. And this is where the amazing program like One Thought Away is amazing because it's going to help you work through all these limiting beliefs and will get you to that next level. And then with all of this information, then you're going to start focusing on slow, steady, and consistent growth. Now, if you're aiming for quantum leaps, by all means, go for it. But if you are starting on this journey, give yourself some grace, start where you're at, and just start moving forward. As long as you're moving forward, that's all that matters at this point, right? That's it. And like I said, if you're aiming for quantum leaps, I'm behind you 100%. And I will be cheering you on the whole way. If you're focusing on those slow steps, I will also be behind you 100%, cheering you on with every step. Because that's all that matters, is moving forward. Okay, so you may want to take a screenshot of this, pause me or come back to it later, but here are some journaling questions for you. And on the next page, I'll share a layout of what I found to be helpful. Okay, so first of all, ask yourself, who do you want to be? Okay, what are your beliefs? How do you act? How do you dress? How do you feel? How do you speak? How do you present yourself to the world? How do you feel about yourself? Okay, who do you want to be? Never mind who you are now. Who do you want to be? Okay, what do you want to do? This can be from vacations, trips, sightseeing, to work, anything. What is it that you want to do? And what do you desire to have? Okay, I want you to list it all. So grab a blank sheet of paper and just brain dump your life wish list. Okay, now this can be really fun. Okay, but I warn you, your subconscious mind will come and play. It'll tell you it's not possible. I want you to shut it down. Let it know that you are just playing at this point. Okay? And then keep going. Write it all down. Then I want you to choose one of those things and start the unraveling process. So ask yourself, what are my beliefs around achieving this goal? What is the evidence to back up my belief? What are the truths to bust through those beliefs? Number 3 and number 4 will be the eye openers here, so don't skip them. And for number 3, if there happens to be no evidence to prove the truth behind your belief, guess what? It's a belief that needs to be let go. Break up with it. Okay? And then you're going to flip it because everything has an opposite. So starting now, what is my empowering belief? So we've taken that limiting belief, we have dissected it, we've unraveled the truths, and now we are going to flip it into an empowering belief. Okay? So my brain works best when things are organized in a certain way. So in case your brain works same as mine, here's a visual that could be helpful when identifying your limiting beliefs and transforming them into empowering beliefs. Okay, so for example, let's take money because it's one of the most common limiting beliefs. Okay, let's say that you want to attract in $1 million. You want to do this so that you can provide an abundant life for your family and give back to your community in ways that no one has thought of so far. These are big goals, right? So you're going to write that in that first space at the top. Okay, that's what you want to do. Now, let's identify a limiting belief. So maybe your belief is that money doesn't grow on trees and it's not available to just anyone. Right? So that's your limiting belief. You want to attract in that $1 million because you want to do amazing things. But that limiting belief that money isn't available to everyone. Okay. So now, what is the evidence that you have to back up that belief? Now, the key word here is evidence. So evidence is something that is real. So maybe you know that your parents didn't have a lot of money. Maybe that's your evidence. And your evidence may end there. Depending on the limiting belief, you may have more evidence that you think you have. Write it all down. Okay? But remember, evidence is something real. Okay? Now, what are the truths about your belief? I encourage you to spend time here and research your answers. Okay, so again, sticking with the same money scenario, okay, we've established that we want to attract in $1 million because we want to do awesome things in the world. We've identified that we don't believe money is available to anyone, just anyone. Maybe you think you have to be special to have that money, right? And our evidence so far is that our parents told us that they didn't have money. Okay, now I'm going to look up some people that I look up to, or people that are in the media, or that aren't in the media. Maybe it's just people that I know of. Okay, and check their backgrounds. So someone like Oprah, who grew up in poverty and lived through trauma at a young age, now has a net worth of $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion. And she grew up in poverty. And I encourage you to look up her story, okay? Because when you read her story of her childhood, it seems surreal to think that she now has a net worth of $2.5 billion. Okay. Jim Carrey lived in a car with his parents and siblings when he was a teenager because his family had become homeless. Now his net worth is $185 million. So keep gathering evidence until the truth becomes clear. In this case, the truth is abundance is available to anyone who seeks it and takes action. Then identify your new empowering belief. I believe that money is everywhere and I have access to it. So we have flipped now through these steps. We have gone from money doesn't grow on trees and it's not available to just anyone. And now at the end of this, we flipped it into I believe that money is everywhere and I have access to it. Now, when you write this down, your subconscious will tell you that it is a big fat lie. And that's okay. Just keep going. Okay. It needs a little bit of convincing. right? And this is where auto-suggestion comes in because it's an amazing tool to help us move ourselves from resistance to ease and flow. And it's a great tool to get us from um, a lower limit to rising up. Okay. Autosuggestion is a form of self-induced suggestion in which we can guide our own thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. When we use autosuggestion, we subconsciously plant ideas in our mind through the repetition of these statements, and with the help of powerful words such as I am, our subconscious believes it. Now, I would add to this that we are autosuggesting all day long. But now you have the power to choose your messages that you are auto-suggesting. Choose the thoughts and the messages that will help you move forward. Just like plants that we plant in a garden and nourish with water, care, and we allow sunlight, it will grow. Our thoughts are the same. So the thoughts that you plant in your subconscious mind and nourish with repetition, emotion, conviction, and faith will become a reality. So even though that new empowering belief seems so far-fetched right now, just keep auto-suggesting it. Keep repeating it and feel it. Have faith in it. Okay? So take your new empowering belief and build your affirmation around it. So let's use our previous example. Our new empowering belief was, I believe that money is everywhere and I have access to it. So your affirmation can look like, I am worthy of financial abundance. Money flows to me in increasing quantities. If your belief is around relationships and your worthiness around love, your affirmation can look like, I am loved for who I am. I am worthy of relationships that are loving, genuine, and nourishing. Write your affirmation on Post-its and scatter them everywhere. Okay? So then you can see them constantly. And when you see them, read them. Okay? So bathroom mirrors on your screen of your computer. Hide it in books that you're reading. Set it as a screensaver on your phone, but put it places where you're going to see it and read them every single time. So then every time you're reading it, you are convincing yourself and you're believing it. So then you're going to start acting differently. Okay? There's science behind this. Another awesome tool is essential oils. Okay, so here we have doTERRA's Douglas Fir, Zendocrine blend, and thyme. Okay, Douglas Fir is known as the oil of generational wisdom. So you can use this oil for generational healing, wisdom, and to help learn from the past. Thyme is the oil of releasing and forgiving. Use this oil to help transform feelings of anger, resentment, and emotional bondage into feelings of forgiveness, patience, understanding, and emotional release. The oil of vitality and transitions is Zendocrine, and it can help turn feelings of self-sabotage, toxicity, limiting beliefs, and difficulty with transitions into an ability to adjust and openness to new experiences. So use these. Use them in your diffuser. You can add a drop into your hand, rub your hand, and inhale. Right? Do it before a meditation. Do it before you repeat your affirmations. Use them in your practices. And then join me next week as we chat about how to identify the uprooting pattern and how we can turn it into focused energy. If you're not yet working with one of the amazing Pursuit Institute coaches, scan this QR code and book your free connection call with me. Let's connect. and chat about how we can get you moving towards the top of your mountain. See you next week.